Hi YouTube, Regina here from Simply Fundamental. So why am I doing this? I have 0 views and 0 subscribers from my other videos. I have no interest in becoming a YouTube star. I have no interest in becoming famous. Well, sometimes I question it myself. But seriously, I think I really want to help people. And I really believe that there's a lot of despair out there and a lot of people feeling that they just can't get ahead. And I think I can help. Years ago, I worked for this management consulting company that did a presentation on one of the engagements, one of the client engagements, without revealing too much detail on the clients. They talked about what they did for that client. And it was a cost cutting measure engagement. So sometimes these consulting companies go in, and if a company's looking to merge with another company, um, they would go in and figure out, oh, does that make sense for the business plan? Another thing they would do is um, cost cutting measures. And they did this for this company. And I remember hearing the presentation and it resonating with me because I just thought it was so interesting. And what they did was they made the customer or the client take everything out of the building and said, before you bring it back in, you need to justify the expense. So take everything out. Go down to nothing and only bring back the expenses that you can justify bringing back in. And so when you think about that, you would think as personal finance, that would be wants and needs. But it doesn't mean that there are not some wants that would not fit their way back in. It's just about validating and justifying it. And and I don't mean like, oh, I deserve it, so I that should be my validation reason. I mean really justifying the expenses. It makes sense to bring it back into your own personal budget. And if it doesn't, it may not mean forever. It may just mean for now. While you're really trying to cut cost or you're really trying to figure out a way that you could come up with money to save and invest your way to wealth. One thing I do think that people tend to do, and while it may not be all the time, is there's a lot of mindless spending that goes on. While there is some mindful spending, I think it's just a very small percentage of the population that actually really truly does look at their expenses and look at the money coming in and the money going out and really be mindful about every dollar that goes in and out of their lives. Most of the spending that goes on, I'd say probably about at least a good 80%. I mean, I don't know the numbers, is especially when it comes to folks living closer to the edge, is mindless. And while there are exceptions, and I truly believe that there are, I think a lot of what happens is, especially if you're really living close to the edge and you really don't have money, the moment you do get money, you spend it because you felt like you're missing out and it feels like I got to get some joy in my life. I need to get some joy and I deserve to spend it. And even at the point of, I mean, spending before you pay your needs, is that you? I've seen it firsthand so many times. I used to look at people's budgets for them, and it, from an outside perspective looking in, you see it happen all the time. People are not paying their bills, but they're spending money on water. I'm talking about the simplest things. Um, the simplest things that could be free. Go buy yourself a filter and spend once instead of going buying yourself bottled water. I mean, it's mindless spending. And people don't realize how quickly it adds up. So do what that client did. Take everything out of your budget, everything, and justify bringing it back in. Maybe it doesn't make sense for you to have a car. Maybe you could do public transit. I know I had a car, but I was near a subway system. I didn't actually need the car, but I kept that car for years. And while I may have needed it to go see my family, there were other ways to go to Long Island. I could have taken the Long Island Railroad. And we're talking about when I was early on. I did eventually become a one-car family. And my husband and I just basically share a car. But he does most of the driving. But anyway, I desulter a lot. Sorry about that. I go off topic. Yeah, the mindless spending. I think it happens. And I think that in the beginning, you have to really be mindful of your wants. And maybe, especially while you need to prioritize savings and investing, it doesn't mean that you can't spend on things that you want, but you can't spend on everything. You can't take all your money and spend it on the present and not save anything for your future. That makes no sense unless you're pretty certain you have no future. I mean, there definitely are people who have short lifespans and know about it ahead of time, sadly. But anyway, I just faltered again. I'm sorry. Yeah. Treat your personal finances like a business. Look at everything that is going in and out of your life. Justify and validate before you bring it back in, at least so early on, so you can find that excess income to either A, pay off debts, and then B, start investing and saving for your future. It doesn't take a lot of money to get really wealthy. And this thing about debt, it works the same way, compounding works the same way with debt as it does for investing. So let's say you have a car loan and your car loan is 18% because you have really bad credit and you're just not really paying your debts. And you get that 18% loan on a $32,000 car. You take that 18% and you divide it in the law of 72, which, by the way, what is the law of 72? It just tells you how long it takes to compound things, how many years it takes to compound. That's 4 years. 4 years for that debt, that $32,000 debt, to become $64,000 for an 18% interest rate. So you could take that law of 72 and do it with anything. If you're getting a 10% return, 7.2 years, you're going to double your money, your investment. So anyway, I really want you to be able to find ways to save money. So I say start by looking at your expenses and justify them. Same as our clients did way back when they were looking to cut cost and survive. This is Regina from Simply Fundamental. Thanks for tuning in, and hope I get 1 subscriber soon.